I don't have a medical affairs team behind me the way a pharma rep does. In orthopedics, the cross-functional ecosystem looks different, and my obligations to it are just as real. Marcus Chen. SynTera Orthopedics. Medical Device Reports. MDR. FDA requires manufacturers to report device-related serious injuries, malfunctions that could cause serious injury, and deaths. The reporting clock starts when the manufacturer becomes aware. I am a field representative. When a surgeon tells me that a Pinnacle Poly insert showed unexpected wear at 4 years, I am now aware. My obligation: document and report to SynTera's regulatory team within 24 hours. I don't determine causality. I don't decide whether it's an MDR reportable event. That's SynTera's regulatory affairs team. My job is to capture the information accurately and get it to them the same day. Complaint handling. Any written, electronic, or oral communication that alleges deficiencies in identity, quality, durability, reliability, safety, effectiveness, or performance of a device is a complaint. If a surgeon says this femoral component feels loose, that's a potential complaint. I log it. I don't dismiss it. Quality. If a component arrives damaged, lot number is illegible, packaging is compromised, I quarantine it and report to quality. I don't implant a device with compromised packaging. Clinical affairs. If an account wants to participate in a SynTera registry study, add your submission. Post-market clinical study. That goes through our clinical affairs team, not through me commercially. Agentforce complaint and MDR workflows route everything through the right channel automatically. Medical device reports MDR. The field rep's adverse event obligation. Under 21 CFR Part 803, medical device manufacturers are required to submit medical device reports, MDR, to FDA when they become aware of information that reasonably suggests their device may have caused or contributed to a serious injury or death, or when a device malfunction would be likely to cause or contribute to a serious injury or death if it were to recur. The 30-day reporting clock for serious injury/malfunction MDRs, and the 5-day clock for deaths and certain imminent danger events begins when the manufacturer becomes aware, which includes field representatives and customer service staff who receive complaints from hospital accounts. A territory rep who hears a complaint about unexpected implant failure, fracture of a component, or patient injury associated with a device is on the clock. The complaint must be documented and reported internally to the regulatory team within 24 hours to preserve the required MDR submission timeline. Failure to report is a regulatory violation that can result in warning letters, consent decrees, and civil monetary penalties. Complaint handling under 21 CFR Part 820. What constitutes a complaint? FDA's Quality System Regulation, 21 CFR Part 820. 198, requires device manufacturers to maintain complaint files and investigate complaints. A complaint is defined as any written, electronic, or oral communication that alleges deficiencies related to the identity, quality, durability, reliability, safety, effectiveness, or performance of a device after it is released for distribution. This definition is broad. A surgeon who casually mentions in conversation that a tibial tray felt less stable than expected, or a scrub tech who notes that a cutting guide has a new play in its mechanism, may be communicating information that meets the regulatory definition of a complaint. Field representatives are expected to recognize complaint situations, document them accurately, product name, lot number, patient information where available, exact description of the alleged deficiency, and report them to the company's quality team on the same day. Complaints are not the same as MDRs. Not all complaints require MDR reporting, but all complaints must be investigated. Product quarantine and field quality actions. When a device has compromised packaging, torn outer packaging, broken sterile seal, temperature excursion on a cold-shipped biologic, a questionable lot number, illegible, damaged, not matching the company's lot records, or physical damage, bent instrument, cracked component, discoloration suggesting contamination, The field rep is responsible for quarantining the affected product, removing it from use, labeling it as quarantined, and ensuring it is not implanted until quality review is complete. Field quarantine is not a commercial decision. The rep loses that case inventory. It is a patient safety and regulatory obligation. A damaged or compromised implant used in a patient creates patient safety risk, a potential MDR event, and a quality system failure, all of which are more costly to SynTera than the loss of a single case. Clinical affairs and post-market surveillance. The boundary of the rep's role. Post-market clinical studies, registries, observational studies, post-approval studies required by PMA conditions, are managed by SynTera's clinical affairs team in collaboration with participating investigator sites. Territory reps who learn that a hospital is interested in participating in a SynTera registry program should facilitate the connection to clinical affairs rather than managing the engagement themselves. The commercial conflict of interest. A rep who manages both the clinical study relationship and the sales relationship at the same account creates the kind of gray area that regulatory and compliance teams actively work to eliminate. Similarly, requests for surgeon data or patient-level outcomes data from an account go through clinical affairs and legal review, not through the territory rep's commercial relationship. The quality system regulation and its field implications. FDA's quality system regulation, 21 CFR Part 820, recently updated as the Quality Management System Regulation, incorporating ISO 13485 standards, governs every aspect of how medical device manufacturers design, manufacture, control, distribute, and monitor their products. Field representatives operate within the QSR's distribution and post-market surveillance requirements, specifically around complaint handling, MDR reporting, and field corrective action. When SynTera's quality team initiates a field corrective action, a recall, market withdrawal, or field safety corrective action, FSCA, related to a device, territory reps are responsible for implementing the corrective action at their accounts, identifying which accounts hold affected lots, notifying hospital contacts of the corrective action, facilitating product return or destruction, and documenting the corrective action completion. FSCA implementation is a regulatory obligation that takes precedence over commercial activity. Q2 is done. Here's what the territory actually looks like. Marcus Chen, SynTera Orthopedics, Dallas-Fort Worth, primary knees, 218 cases, up 19% over Q2 last year. Methodist Dallas is my top account. Dr. Agarwal and Dr. Kaufman together ran 94 Pinnacle knees. Dr. Reyes at Presbyterian Plano is at 40% Pinnacle share, up from 0% 12 months ago. That conversion is real. Primary hips, 89 cases. Flat against Q2 prior year. I need to diagnose this. The apex hip is performing well clinically. The flat volume is a coverage issue at Baylor Grapevine. I've had 2 scheduled hip cases go to the competitor because I was tied up in trauma at Methodist. Coverage gap. I'm addressing it with a distributor support arrangement for elective hip cases when I'm on trauma call. Revision, 14 cases, up from 9 last quarter. Dr. Agarwal is referring revision cases from her practice. That's a trust signal that means more than any elective volume number. SynSem, attached to 82% of cemented cases. The 18% where SynSem wasn't used, 3 were cases where the surgeon used competitor cement from an open supply, 2 were cases where I wasn't present and the circulator pulled from a different shelf. Tray configuration issue. Fixed. VAC pipeline. 2 accounts in active review. Decisions expected in Q3. 3 things that need attention next quarter. The Baylor Grapevine hip coverage gap, Dr. OSI's conversion stall at 20% Pinnacle share, and the Presbyterian IDN corporate conversation that starts in August. Agentforce built this review. I'm presenting it to my regional director on Thursday. Orthopedic territory performance metrics, the multidimensional scorecard. An orthopedic territory rep's quarterly review spans multiple dimensions that together provide a complete performance picture. Case volume, the number of procedures performed using SynTera products, is the primary commercial metric, tracked by product line: primary knee, primary hip, revision knee, revision hip, trauma/hemiarthroplasty, and by account. Market share, the percentage of total joint replacement procedures at each account performed with SynTera products vs competitors, provides the competitive context for case volume. Strong volume at an account where SynTera is the dominant vendor means something different than the same volume at an account where SynTera holds 20% share. Conversion status, which surgeons are actively converting, which are stalling, which have reverted to competitor systems, provides the forward-looking indicator of future volume trajectory. The quarterly review synthesizes all three dimensions to produce a territory narrative that goes beyond raw numbers to explain what's driving performance and what needs to change. Case coverage gap analysis, the operational performance dimension. The hip case coverage gap at Baylor Grapevine, 2 scheduled hip cases going to the competitor because the rep was at another account, illustrates an operational performance dimension of the orthopedic territory review that has no equivalent in pharmaceutical sales. A pharma rep who misses an office call may lose influence on a prescribing decision. An orthopedic rep who misses a scheduled case loses the case entirely, potentially to the competitor who was present. Case coverage analysis identifies which accounts had planned SynTera cases that the rep attended vs missed, the root cause of coverage gaps, concurrent cases, trauma call conflicts, scheduling errors, and the commercial impact, cases lost to competitor, cases delayed, surgeon dissatisfaction. Addressing coverage gaps through territory staffing adjustments, distributor support, colleague coverage arrangements, region sharing agreements, is an operational priority that directly determines case yield from the existing surgeon base. Attach rate analysis, the SynSem commercial metric. For consumable products that accompany primary implants, SynSem bone cement, the territory performance metric is attach rate, the percentage of cemented joint replacement cases in which SynSem was used rather than a competitor cement or a product from open hospital stock. An 82% SynSem attach rate means that 18% of cemented cases consumed competitor cement, representing revenue lost and consignment inventory not consumed. Attach rate analysis identifies which accounts have low SynSem attach rates, whether the gap is caused by rep presence, cases where the rep wasn't in the room, tray configuration, SynSem not positioned as the default cement at the account, or active competitor activity. A competitor cement rep who maintains a relationship with the or supply coordinator. The corrective actions in the Q2 review example: repositioning SynSem on the tray as the default, ensuring the circulator pulls SynSem rather than open stock competitor cement, are operational fixes that improve attach rate without requiring surgeon re-engagement. The revision case as a loyalty signal. The quarterly review notes Dr. Agarwal's referral of revision cases as a trust signal that means more than any elective volume number. This observation reflects a meaningful commercial reality in joint replacement. Surgeons typically refer their most complex revision cases to the vendor relationships they trust most. A surgeon who is comfortable implanting a primary knee with a new system, but sends their revisions to a competitor rep, is expressing partial trust. A surgeon who brings their revision cases to the same vendor as their primary cases, accepting the additional intraoperative demands that revision surgery creates for the rep, has extended a level of professional trust that is the strongest possible commercial loyalty signal. Tracking the primary to revision case ratio at each surgeon account provides an early indicator of relationship depth that case volume alone does not capture. Q3 strategic priorities, from review to forward plan. The quarterly review is not a backward-looking report. It is the input document for the forward operational plan. The 3 Q3 priorities identified in this review: hip coverage gap, OSI conversion stall, BSW IDN corporate conversation. Each represent distinct commercial challenges requiring different responses. The coverage gap is an operational problem requiring a logistics solution. The oocyte conversion stall requires diagnostic investigation and a targeted commercial response. Is it tray availability, competitive pressure, technique uncertainty, or a relationship issue? The BSW IDN conversation is a corporate-level commercial event requiring coordination between the territory rep and the national account team. Agentforce territory planning tools link quarterly review findings to forward action items, assigning ownership, due dates, and success metrics for each priority, so the next quarterly review can assess whether the planned responses produce the intended results.